Sad Lad here, and this is my first real video with me in person. And what I decided I would do today is actually do a review of Hopesfall's second record, which is the Satellite Years. This came out after their EP, which was No Wings to Speak Of, which I believe came out in it was the early 2000s for sure. It might have been 1999, 2000. I might be miscorrect on that, but yeah, what an album. So as you guys can see here, I actually have it on vinyl record, which is great. And it wasn't easy to get this album. As you guys know, Hopesfall recently just got back in the game. They're playing shows again. They just made that new album, Arbiter, which I put a video up of 2 years ago when it came out, which was really cool. And I love that album. That album's amazing. But this was the first album I heard by Hopesfall that started it off for me. And this one's just really special to me. It's great. I had to get it. But it sold out so quick. I was on the Equal Visions website the day these went, like all the vinyls went on sale. Because what happened was they all got pressed again, all their albums. So you got A-Types, A-Types got re-released. Magnetic North, which was their last album they did in 2007. And the Satellite Years over here. Now everyone, of course, wanted the Satellite Years because that's like, their most well-known and probably most appreciated record. But I like all of them. I got all of them personally that I could get. I got A-Types and Magnetic North, no problem. I got those, and they still had those in stock. This one, I'm not even joking, the Satellite Years sold in about fucking 6 or 7 minutes. The first pressing in years. It was crazy. So I couldn't just buy this directly from the website for $30 like most people were thankfully lucky enough to do. I actually paid about $100 for this on eBay off of a scalper. So that's interesting. And $100 Canadian, that's a lot of money, but you know what? This album to begin with, the old pressings of it are very expensive, so I can see why this one is worth so much compared to the others. By the way, Magnetic North and A-Types have went up in value too. I'm pretty sure they're selling around 60 to 70 bucks. Around that range last time I saw. Thankfully I was able to get them from the record store, but unfortunately not this one. But yeah, I guess we should get into the review part now and talk about all the songs on this album and what I think about it. So here, we're going to go into the review right now. So yeah, guys, what do I have to say about this album? Well, I mean, there's a lot of things I can say, honestly. I mean, first of all, it's just a classic in post-hardcore, metalcore, melodic hardcore, whatever the fuck you want to call it, honestly. It's just like a big staple in that history in the early 2000s. Like, this was one of the first bands that really started doing this melodic sound. There's a lot of bands that do it now, you got, Being as an Ocean, even some stuff that's coming from Counterparts nowadays is really, really, really melodic. So there's a lot of these melodic hardcore bands today, and I think a lot of them, it really started with this band. It started with Hopesfall. They kind of started that whole sound. Not saying that there was other bands that weren't doing it, but these guys were, I feel like, the ones that did it probably the best at the time. Now, of course, Hopesfall kind of did fall out over the years. Of course, they lost all their original members. Doug Venable, who was the original vocalist on No Wings to Speak Of, he left early. Apparently, the band was a Christian band early on in the career, in their career, but I'm not sure about that because I haven't really seen much confirmation over members talking and stuff. And now that they're back together, like all these OG members, doesn't seem like they're on that route anymore. So maybe they just did it in their early years to fit in the Christian hardcore scene. I don't know. But either way, what a classic. I mean, there's so many good songs on this album. Some are really soft. Most of them are heavy, of course, with scream vocals. It wasn't until A-Types they actually really stopped doing the screamed vocals as much. They started doing more singing. Because what ended up happening was the vocalist they got for this album, Jay Forrest, who's a great screamer and singer, he screams actually quite a bit more on Hopesfall's new album, Arbiter, which is interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I thought that was cool. But really, what ended up happening was because they replaced their original vocalist, who was just a screamer, with a singer, they naturally got softer, but all the old members pretty much left, and at the end, it was pretty much just Jay Forrest. So, like, I don't even think there was an original member left in the band except for Josh Brigham, who's, I believe he's the guitarist. Might be the bassist, I'm forgetting. No, I think he's for sure a guitarist. But, yeah, he's the only guy in this band that stayed throughout the entire duration of this band's life. Kind of like how, you know, you look at Woe Is Me. I'm not, you know, a huge Woe Is Me fan, but I know they only lasted for 4 years. They had tons of member changes, and I think the only guy that was consistent through all of them was the guitarist or bassist or something. So this was kind of a situation like that. And what ended up happening was the band actually broke up. Apparently Jay Forrest was going to continue the band, but that never actually happened. And, you know, that was pretty much it. You know, the last thing we got was Magnetic North, which was like a really good album. More intricate, more thought out, more space rock-esque than A-Types. I love A-Types. That's an amazing album, but that's probably their weakest album, to be honest. Minus their very first album, which was that it was like that Christian hardcore stuff I was telling you about earlier with them. Yeah, that one was pretty good, but it was like really rough hardcore. It wasn't as... There's still some melodies in there, but it wasn't as melodic as they got with No Wings to Speak Of and the Satellite Years. But yeah, as songs go on this album, you got some great ones. My personal favorite is A Man Exits. Yeah, that one is really good. It's so rocking, and then the ending is just like explosive with the drums and all the melodies coming at you. It's really cool, and it sounds great listening to it on a record player set up like mine with you know, all the stereo speakers and stuff. It's really cool. I like it. So that's a really good song. Of course, there's really good classics on here, such as The Bending. That's a really famous song by them. There's a video of them that's famous on YouTube of them playing at Hellfest. It's kind of like a music video, and that's pretty cool if you want to check that out. And Waitress is an amazing song as well. I love Waitress. Yeah, The Bending, Waitress, Man Exits, you know, great gripping songs. There's another song too, which is also interesting for Hum fans. If any of you guys are interested in Hum, the singer for Hum, Matt Talbot, I think his name is, the singer guitarist for Hum. If you guys don't know who Hum is, Hum was a really cool post-hardcore alt-rock kind of space rock band from the 90s, and Hopesfall is very influenced by those guys. And anyway, what was cool with this album was they actually went to Matt Talbot from that band, and he was a producer by this time, because Hum broke up around this time when he recorded this album for them. So he actually produced this album, which is really cool, and he did an excellent job. I know he produces a lot with analog, if you guys are familiar with, you know, the analog format, which is super old school, but it sounds so crisp. And I think that might have something to do with the production on this album, because that's the thing, this album is so amazing, and I think the reason why it's considered better than the rest of Hopesfall stuff besides Arbiter, now a lot of people I know really love Arbiter. It's up there. A lot of people call it Satellite Years 2.0 now. But really, it's cool because he produced the album so well. He did such a good job with it. And one of my favorite songs on the album, which was the last song I was going to mention before I went into that huge ramble there. Sorry about that, guys. Matt actually does sing on a song on this album. He sings on Escape from Intangibles, which is just a beautiful song, super melodic. It's one of the softer songs on the album, but it's beautiful, and it really goes with Matt's voice, because if you guys are a Hum fan, you know his voice. He kind of sings very quiet, kind of whiny, not perfect. He's not the best singer, but it fits this music 100%, especially the more melodic stuff. So that was really cool. That was just super cool. And, you know, overall, this is an album I can listen to from start to end and listen to the whole thing and just enjoy it. You know, I have some records that I own like this, you know, physically, and, you know, I just end up skipping through most of the songs just because I don't want to listen to most of the songs on the album. And that's my main complaint with a lot of albums in general, is that you do have a lot of bangers on these full lengths, but at the end of the day, you're also hit with a lot of mediocre songs that could have been better done, I think. So that's interesting. But I think at the end of the day, this is a really good album. It's getting more recognition now as time has went by, which I love. I remember 10 years ago, because I didn't start listening to Hopesfall. I'm young. I'm 23 years old, so I didn't listen to this band back in the day. I didn't find out about them until probably about 2010, 2009. It was a couple years after Magnetic North came out, and I fell in love with this band. And when they got back together in 2018 and made a new album, it was honestly like a dream come true. Like, seriously, it was great. But final rating for this album, I am going to give it a friggin' 10 out of 10. Seriously, guys, this is one of my favorite albums. I can listen to it from start to end. Doesn't matter what day. Doesn't even matter what kind of mood I'm in. There's some songs on here that are very optimistic, and then there are some that are just downright depressing and sad. So this is an album you can definitely listen to, no matter what you're feeling or what time of the day it is, you know. Obviously there's some really heavy bands we listen to in the scene, and some of them are heavier than others, and some of them you just want to listen to them just because, you know, they get you pumped, and, you know, if you're pissed off, you're going to listen to them or whatever. But with Hopesfall, it's different. I feel like with this album especially, you can put it on no matter what kind of mood you're in. You're going to have a good time. With Magnetic North and A-Types, I don't feel that same way. Arbiter, I felt like, got the strongest to this album. That's why I think a lot of people call Arbiter the Satellite Years 2.0, which is funny, but it's kind of true because it is the most similar that they've done in most recent years. A-Types, to me, is a very positive sounding, you know, arena rock sort of album, and I love that. I have nothing against that, but it's definitely one of their weakest albums just because they could have done more. It's still melodic and everything, but it wasn't like the same. They definitely dropped the heaviness and stuff. And with Magnetic North, that's when things really shifted, because they started doing the space rock stuff like really, really crazy, which obviously they started doing with this album. But Magnetic North was a great album. I love that one too. But again, you know, different mood. And those songs, you know, a lot of them are pretty depressing sounding and sound very futuristic, and there's these crazy riffs going on. I'm going to have to review these albums another day to go more in depth on them. But what I'm saying is this one seems like the most balanced. It seems like this one you can just put on anytime, whereas Hopesfall's other material, you know, you got to be in a certain mood for it. Especially No Wings to Speak of. That's a very melodic but very, you know, emo, angry super fast album. It you know, that's an album you want to listen to, you know, when you're partying with your buddies or something. You know, you want to listen to something heavy that rocks. But you know, that one is especially, you know, super heavy. So if you guys are a fan of, you know, metalcore, you know, more melodic metalcore, definitely check this out. But I think you'd probably be more of a fan of No Wings to Speak Of, just because the original vocalist was more of a screamer, had more of the hardcore vocals to him. But yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And subscribe if you like this video, guys. Like, seriously, if you did, I'll make more of these. And I want to talk to you guys. What do you guys think of this album? I love it personally, and I know a lot of you guys love Hopesfall and these albums as well, and fanboy over this shit like me. So I'd really love to see you guys comment and tell me what you guys think of this album and the others. I really hope you guys are having a good weekend, and I really hope you guys are staying safe during these hard times. Obviously, the COVID-19 is starting up again. There's a second wave, at least where I live here in Canada. I know it's pretty bad as well as in the rest of the world. So I just really hope everyone's doing well, and everyone's staying safe, and you know, wearing your masks and everything, and you know, we'll get through it. And I think the best thing at this time is to just be positive and be happy, because it's very easy to get really depressed and stuff at this time. So I hope I can connect with you guys and talk more about music, and I'd love to as well start doing film reviews eventually as well. I'm a huge music guy, I'm a huge film guy, and I'm a huge video game guy, so I'd love to get into more of all this stuff. But yeah, hope you guys have a good one. Take her easy.